Hi there, Ozzy here. In this video, we're going to explore the element of art, space. In art, space describes the areas around, between, and within parts of an artwork. Here on this flat paper, I'm going to show you actual space. I'll place several objects to occupy the space and arrange them in a way to show both positive and negative space. The areas between and around the objects are negative space, and the objects themselves are positive space. Like this hole puncher here is a positive space. The areas around the outer edges are open spaces, and the areas inside the bead strands are closed spaces. Usually, we think of the positive space as light and the dark value as the negative space. This is not always the case. For example, the black planter here is still the subject against the white background, and therefore the planter is the positive space. In two-dimensional artwork, size is often used to show distance and give the impression of a deeper space. For example, objects in the background like this couch are depicted much smaller in size than the objects that may be up closer in the middle ground and even the much larger objects in the foreground. So here we have a couch, pictures, and a planter against the wall space, and then an overlapping ottoman in the middle ground, and yet another overlapping object up closer to the viewer. And that object is much larger in comparison to all the objects we have in the space. So in addition to changing the object's size and placement to give the impression of space, here I'll be using a technique called linear perspective to create an illusion of distance, mainly by stretching my directional lines towards a vanishing point. I will draw a simple structure using simple shapes, and I will place a vanishing point to show the direction the viewer is looking. And to begin creating the illusion of distance, I'll connect the corners of the main shapes to the vanishing point. These diagonal lines are called orthogonal lines. They all converge and meet at the vanishing point. Then I'll draw parallel lines to the front shapes and I'll erase the excess marks. Now this will give me the end of the structure. And now I'll add a horizon line to place my structure on the ground. Maybe I'll add a door to give it some detail, and then maybe a circular window. So again, these converging lines that slant toward the vanishing point are all called orthogonal lines. And the vanishing point is the spot where all things seem to disappear or vanish. The straight lines that meet the face of the structure are all parallel lines. And so are the slanted lines of the roof line. Those are parallel lines as well. And this is an example, a simple example of linear perspective to give the illusion of distance. In a landscape, large negative space can often represent wide open distances within a scene, like in this image of Lang Valley, Italy. To do this, I can move the horizon line higher in the picture to increase the ground space below the sky. This gives the whole scene a sense of wider and deeper space. As you can see here, with the animals in the foreground and the further back horizon line. Similarly, I can lower the horizon line, as in this picture, to increase the sky area and bring the distant objects up closer to the viewer. So no matter how deep or shallow the space, the horizon line is always where the sky meets the ground. And notice how objects in the far distance lose their details and become very hazy. And not to forget, space can be visually distorted to create imaginative environments, like in this famous artwork by Salvador Dali. In abstract art, negative and positive space can be equally emphasized in a composition focused around the formal elements of art, as in this Kandinsky work. In 3D art, negative space is the open or empty parts within the sculptural piece or structure and its surrounding areas. The size of the sculpture, where it is placed, and the lighting used are all tied into the key element of space. Think of it really, space coexists with every piece of artwork, whether it be actual space or the illusion of space. Now that you understand the importance of the art element space, see how you might creatively use space in your artwork.